Welcome into our overtime segment here on SportsSource.tv. We appreciate you joining us. I am joined by Bobby Scott, Daniel Hood, Sterling Hinton, VFL's one and all, and then like myself, a TVFL, Television for Life. Chuck Cavaleris is down there. And this segment is brought to you by Blue Smoke Cigars. Our overtime always brought to you by Blue Smoke Cigars. It's a great place to enjoy a cigar in terms of all the options they've got. It's a tremendous club, but also right now terrific prices on just some of the best named cigars you can get anywhere. Also, lighters, ashtrays. It's the Christmas season. If you've got a cigar smoker in your life, the best place to go and get them gifts is Blue Smoke Cigar. If you want to check it out, go talk to Mike Hicks and his staff down there. Good folks. They will steer you in the right direction. Even if you don't know a thing about cigars, they can help you find the right gift for the cigar aficionado in your life. All right. I took some questions from Twitter. Just going to throw these out here. What would you guys think of a combination of Mike Leach and John Chavis? I don't think John Chavis would want to work with the offense that Mike
Probably
Leach
not,
lives in.
but as a quarterback, I'd love to play in that offense. I mean, it would be fun. But he's got to go find somebody like a Johnny Chavis that can stop people too. Well, because he's got the reputation of having a big offense but not having much defense.
Right. When you average 40-something points a game and you're 8-4 every year, there's something on the defensive side. And the other thing is, hard to find defensive coordinators who want to go to work for those kind of all-offense coaches because they know their defense is going to get hung out to dry.
That's right. They're going to get hung out on the other end of the field too.
Excuse me.
But I kind of wonder if the ship hasn't sailed a little bit on Coach Chavis as a defensive coordinator. I didn't see Texas A&M really, shutting down a lot of people. They gave up a lot of plays. I know they had some injuries, but I wouldn't look at that as like automatically a home run combination.
In Coach Chavis' defense, he's had a lot of first-round draft choices out of that defense, and that's compensating with the injuries. I mean, if they can't get a Leach and Chavis, it'd be like a Kevin Gilbride and Buddy Ryan type thing.
Exactly. The chuck and duck and pop to the face. All right. Brent Venables, the Clemson defensive coordinator. Somebody asked about him. Was Tennessee looking at him? Early on, I thought his name would pop up. The trick is, he's a guy that nobody's sure how much he really wants to be a head coach. Kind of like John Chavis. Chavis never really chased one of those jobs with a lot of gusto, and Venables really hasn't.
Bud Foster at Virginia Tech is another one.
Another one of those. There's supposedly a short list that he would be interested in, but he's, of course, been defensive coordinator at Oklahoma, been defensive coordinator at Clemson. His ties are Kansas State. He was a Bill Snyder guy, but supposedly there's a rift between him and Snyder. Could that work in John Curry's favor? Because he and Snyder supposedly didn't get along. There are rumors out there that Snyder, when coaches have been calling him, what's it like to work with John Curry, he's not been saying good things. Could it be a case of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, Curry and Venables? But the thing is, again, haven't heard a word about him on this search. Nothing. So, but your thoughts on Brent Venables. Could Tennessee go and get a defensive coordinator who's never been a head coach?
Where'd you say he was?
Clemson. He's a darn good one. He's won at Oklahoma with Bob Stoops, and he's won at Clemson with Dabo Swinney. But could Tennessee go out and get a guy with no head coaching experience who's a defensive guy right now?
I think they could, John, but I think some of the word from UT was they were more impressed with Jeremy Pruitt than they were Brent Venables in terms of if they were going to do that.
Which to me makes no sense.
But that was kind of just, and that's just trusting what you hear from over there.
Venables has a much longer and better track record than Pruitt, and we've seen in this conference a lot of guys have gone out and gotten Saban assistants. Now, Smart's working out pretty well at Georgia, but he inherited a pretty doggone good roster. We'll see where he is. He's got the best deal because he's got such a recruiting base, but I don't.
Plus, he played there.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who've been off that Saban tree. Pruitt's not been there a long time.
Well, don't you think it's a little bit suspect, though, if in your athletic director search you had to find a sitting athletic director at a Power 5, and now you're looking for a head football coach, and you would go the assistant coach route? That just seems like it's a little bit of a contradiction there.
It doesn't bother me.
I get where you're coming from, though.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. It wouldn't bother me because, one, Beverly Davenport wants somebody who has been in a big place and knows how to do it. That's to run an entire program. I could see saying football, I'll give you a choice. I'll give you a chance to somebody that's up and cover, because you look across college football, Bob Stoops, pretty good. Mark Richt, pretty good from the coordinator that had never been head coaches. To me, one's a whole program and one's football. But I see where you're coming from. It's not as big a hang-up for me. James Franklin, I was asked, have they reached out to James Franklin? You're not going to get James Franklin. I think a lot of people like James Franklin, but the guy's got it rolling at Penn State. He's from Pennsylvania. I don't see that happening. Would you want him after he was at Vanderbilt?
No, I mean that's one thing that sticks in my mind.
Well, I could get over that.
If he's winning 10
But I
games
mean,
a year,
your chance with him, I think you missed him when he was
we put a fumigator on him or something like that. and
you missed him when he was the offensive coordinator at Maryland, and real, that's when you're talking about the
there's
quarters.
another, that guy. That's another interesting point, because not only was he an offensive coordinator at Maryland who no one in the SEC had been talking about, he didn't have anyone on his staff that had done anything in the SEC. Right. So there's this, and I believe in it. You'd be safer to get SEC guys. He's the exception to the rule. He didn't have any SEC guys. They had no Southern recruiting ties. They hit at Vanderbilt, take off immediately, and then go do it at Penn State.
Wow.
So, Mike Norvell at Memphis. We talked about him during the show. His name seems to be dropping a little. He's only been a coach for a year and a half, well, 2 full years now, I guess you could say. Put 70 up yesterday on Eastern Carolina.
Yes, he did.
He inherited Riley Ferguson, who's a pretty good quarterback. But could Tennessee, what would be the response? A, big offense, up-and-comer. Other side, B, he's only been a coach for 2 years. What would the reaction be if you go get Mike Norvell, do you think?
I think you just hit the nail on the head with what the reaction would be. You'd hear half people be happy with it, half would hate it, which I think is why John Curry's got to go back to where he's at and make the decision that he thinks best. I don't think there's really anybody at South Carolina that was happy about bringing in Muschamp, but when you look at where they're at this year, I guess they're 8-4, which is the best they've been in a while. They're pretty happy with it right now.
He's done a pretty good job. Any other names out there that you think should be getting more play? Obviously, Sterling, you want somebody that's a former Vol.
Well, it's one that's qualified. When certain people that I think are qualified, as I said, Marion Hobby and Casey Rogers, because I know for a fact this program will win, and the worst case scenario will never be embarrassed. I know these people, and they have proven themselves to be successful coaches, and that's what they do.
What about T. Martin?
T also. T's gone from UTEP to Kentucky to USC, and you see what he's doing out there. He's going to be in the Rose Bowl. So we got people all over the place.
It's one of the things, too, Pearl, and I think John pointed out this, last Sunday, is T. Martin has kind of interviewed at Georgia Southern. How would the fan base, or some of the fan base, react if you're competing with Georgia Southern for your next head coach?
Well, competing with Georgia Southern is the fact is, if he gets the opportunity, I would venture to say he would take Tennessee over Georgia Southern. But he's probably interviewing with Georgia Southern because he wants the head coach experience that you just talked about.
Right.
Like, maybe that's it. I don't know. Chuck, what do you think?
All right, let me throw because it will not die. Let me throw a little more oxygen on the John Gruden fire. Okay, Jason Lockenfora of CBS Sports Today reports that Tennessee is, once again, we knew this. Tennessee is interested in John Gruden. Tennessee's reached out to John Gruden. That's all been known, been said. He's going with one of these things that's been floating around on the message boards for a while, and that is part of securing Gruden for the position of head coach would be luring former Tennessee quarterback T. Martin back to Tennessee to serve as chief recruiter. And the deal, if reached, would be worth upwards of $10 million per season for Gruden, with another $8 million per season reserved for the salaries of his staff. Gruden has resisted the urge to coach in college in the past, and some close to him believe he would prefer to land an NFL job. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Tennessee boosters are skeptical of a deal. From what I gather, Jason Lockenfora just ran with something I've seen on the message boards for 3 weeks.
Right. If you're John Gruden, you could be the next coach of the New York Football Giants, and that's what resonates with him.
Or back to Tampa.
Or back to Tampa.
Or you have unfinished business.
Or who knows, the Dallas Cowboys. That's what his comfort zone is. And the red flag there is he hadn't coached for almost 10 years, right? And I know he can coach, but he hasn't for 10 years, and his knowledge of college to think he can have someone else do all the recruiting or most of the recruiting, that's kind of scary.
Well, I think he would have somebody that keep him compliant. That'll keep him compliant. I mean, that's what I think.
Well, he said that
That's it. I
multiple
don't
times.
see he would do the recruit. I can see him out there doing what he do. He'll work hard and do the job, but he'll make sure he has someone keeping him compliant.
Let me say this. Let me ask you this. If he doesn't take it, and I don't think he will, maybe I'm wrong. I've already went on. Somebody was on Twitter, you're going to eat crow? I don't want to eat crow. I'll get a tattoo. And my tattoo is what he said on the radio that everybody jumped at. Never say never to nothing. So that'll be my tattoo if you get Jon Gruden. So I don't think it's going to happen. I would love to cover it if he did happen. I would like to see it. But if he doesn't take it this time, now I know the answer to this. Fans won't care. 3 years, 4 years, the same people getting all the clicks with this will be saying again, okay, now this time he really, really means it. He really is going. From my perspective, if he strings you along again, either for his ego or to use you as leverage for ESPN negotiations for other coaches, at some point you have to look at him as not a help. I wouldn't call him an enemy to the program, but am I the only one here that thinks maybe it's time to,
Move on.
Blank or get off the pot, so to speak?
That's business, John. It's business. It's business.
Okay, well, you're the one that loves Tennessee. You don't have a problem with somebody stringing Tennessee along?
I don't think he's stringing Tennessee along. I think Tennessee's put himself in a position to where they're in the conversation with him. So what he's doing is just handling business.
And at some point, and John, I said this a couple of weeks ago, I said it last week, there needs to be like a 72-hour kind of time frame. Hey, if you're in, let us know. If you're not, we need to put out a statement saying, we've considered this, we've looked at it, it's not in the best interest at this time, we wish each other the best.
Why haven't Tennessee said that?
That's exactly what they need to do, Chuck.
Why hasn't Tennessee said that then?
Because fans would go and burn down John
Oh,
Curry's
now
house.
but what I'm saying is, it's business. It's just business. This is a business
Okay,
decision.
but
Let's not get
let's
personal.
see, here's
That's
the
the
thing.
way
If
you
it-
negotiate, though.
This
I
is a business
I
decision.
mean, that's,
I thought you said you'd be sick of it if he did it this time. They ought to move on.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, how many times do you ask a pretty girl out before she says yes, and then you keep asking her out? At some point you say, I'm going to move on to the next pretty
That's
girl.
never happened to me,
Well,
Chuck.
in this day and age, it could come back to haunt you 10 years down the road. You wouldn't leave her
Hey,
alone.
Chuck, that's never happened to me.
What, Daniel? What do you think? Do you think it's cool for him to
I
every 3 years for him to pop up and say, "Man, I like it. It sounds great." Hey, Ron Zook, what do you think? Hey, talk to his guys and then go, nah. Nah.
Not right time.
No, I don't think it's right because it's terrible. But if you had a daughter or something like that, and so your daughter was
careful.
Tennessee, and then she was dating some guy named Jon Gruden, how would you feel about it in that scenario? She's getting her hopes up, everything's, and then it's okay. Now she's settling
Then
for
you
something
go
else.
on personal though, Dan.
Right,
You got to
I
stay
did.
business. You went personal. This is a business decision for Tennessee and Coach
But
Gruden.
how long has
Either
this
way,
been
they
dragging out, Pearl?
Well, then,
A decade.
if this happens again, won't someone say we're not going to get Coach Gruden?
So again, it's not up to him to say it. It's up to Tennessee.
What I'm saying is, It's up to who is the people, the variables in the equation. I mean, let's not hold Coach Gruden hostage and not hold Tennessee hostage.
Oh, I don't
You
think anybody's
said-
holding John Gruden
But
hostage.
what I'm saying is,
I
my
don't- if
friend,
there's
you,
a
John
hostage
P, as
taker,
my
it's
boss on this show and
Tennessee.
as the man who puts this thing together, you just said, you know what I'm saying? If Tennessee said that, well, the whole fan base would go crazy.
Right.
Well, look what they're protected. It's business.
But I don't even see where you're going with
What
that.
I'm going with is
I don't
what
think
I'm going with it is Tennessee's not going to say they don't want the fan base to get mad, and Coach Gruden's not going to say that because he's going to position himself in the best position for business to be handled for him.
Okay, well,
That's
I
it.
would like to, then let's stop with the whole,
Yeah,
I'll do anything for
exactly.
Tennessee. You're not helping Tennessee.
Oh.
You're hurting Tennessee. You're dragging this out every
and,
time.
and you're going to make just about, no matter who is announced as the coach, if it's not John Gruden,
Yep.
there's going to be
Well, who's
50% of
Sterling,
the
if it
fan
were
base.
somebody else, you'd have a different answer.
No,
That's my
no,
guess.
I'm just
You're
saying it's
friends with-
business.
You're
That's
friends
my
with him.
guy. I love him to death. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
bet if this were Dan Mullen, I bet you wouldn't be saying,
Well,
it's business for him. It's good.
But he never said, anything to degrade the position. Nor has Tennessee. everybody's riding this wave until the culmination of the hiring of the new coach.
Well,
Yeah.
I hope they hire
Somebody
him.
needs to force it.
I hope they hire him, or I hope he says, I'm done and I'm never going to coach at Tennessee, because I, for one, am sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. I think it makes Tennessee look bad. I think you've got national guys. And if he comes and hires, everybody's going to be wrong, baby, because everybody's saying no. Everybody who knows him, that in terms of media, no, not happening. All these NFL guys, he wants to go to the NFL, not Tennessee. If you go by past history here, he's stringing you along again and isn't going to take it. If he does,
Yeah,
I will
cheers.
applaud
Yes.
and say that's the best hire, and John Curry would be the hero of Tennessee. But I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, and I don't think it helps your program.
And you don't think it's going to happen.
And I don't think it's
That's
going to
right.
happen. And I also think that I think there are coaches out there who would look at it and say, I don't want to be your consolation prize.
Yeah,
You mean I'm going to come in there and be not John Gruden? That's your new name if you come in here. Hello, not John Gruden. Butch Jones was hired. Dave Hart was taking questions about John Gruden at the press conference
Right.
announcing Butch Jones. That is not a good look for Tennessee if you're that obsessed with John Gruden. And that's all I'm saying. I'm tired of the whole thing. Either shed or get off the pot.
Oh, baby!
It's online. It's online. You guys know that's the tip of the iceberg when it comes to my vulgarity.
I think we need to end with that one, John.
No, more overtime,
In other words, we
overtime.
need to shit or get off the pot. All right. Chuck Cavalera, Sterling Hinton, Daniel Hood, Bobby Scott. Thanks to these guys for joining us. Thanks to you for joining us. Appreciate it every week. You guys, all football season long, I just can't say thanks enough. 15 years we've been doing this. This was our highest rated football season. Gets bigger every year, and that's 100% you. And your loyalty to our sponsors is just beyond comparison. So thank you very, very much. I know everybody thinks that, but I certainly want to say it enough. Thank you. And we will see you next Sunday, 11 a.m., Channel 6, The Sports Source.